Welcome to this week's edition of Tuesday's Tips, and one of the things I want to talk about today is something actually quite important: recovery points. We get a lot of people down the shop here asking for recovery gear, and it's one of the most important things you need to take with you when you're off four-wheel driving. In fact, the way I actually consider it is like going out in the boat without your life jackets. Having the right recovery gear is so important. But even more importantly is making sure you've got the right recovery points on your car so that when you do need to do that all-important recovery, you've got something strong. Now, we've got a couple of examples of recovery points here, and the things that you need to look out for recovery points is it actually has to have a stamped load rating on it. And you can see here with this one, it's got a stamped load rating of 5,000 kg. So it's actually been rated and approved for that particular vehicle at 5,000 kg per hook. So if you double those hooks up and you've got one either side and you're recovering through a bridle, that's going to give you 10,000, which is going to be well and truly enough in most situations to get yourself out of trouble. Now, so many recovery points out there and hooks are actually non-rated, and that's something we're going to talk about in a minute. But here's some high quality examples of recovery points, and you can see here with this particular one, again, it's stamped 5,000 kgs, and you add those both together and you've got a fairly decent recovery pulling power. So these come with the proper bolts. They're designed to mount to the chassis properly and pull evenly, so it's not going to actually do any damage to the vehicle. You've got to remember, on a lot of late model vehicles, the chassis are designed to concertina, and so mounting a recovery point that's actually rated is very important for the strength of the chassis. You've probably all seen these hooks. These have been around a long time, and the hooks themselves are actually rated to 10,000 pounds, so they're very strong. But a lot of people will buy these and try and mount them on the chassis, and what can happen is you can actually rip the chassis out. You can actually pull the end of it off, and then this thing becomes a missile and wants to go through the window. So you've got to be very careful that not only do you have the right recovery points, but they're mounted to the chassis in the right way. Now, here's another example of a recovery point, high quality one. You can see here it's really strong and well made, and all of these have 3 to 4 plus fixing points on the actual chassis itself. Now, here's an example of a rear centre pull recovery. Now, this is designed to go into the tow bar of the vehicle, and the actual factory pin is designed to go through there. So they've got a shear strength of around about 10 tonnes. So that's heavy enough in most instances, depending on the vehicle, to actually lift the whole back of the car off the ground. So these are a very, very strong option. Do never put the snatch strap through the tow bar and just put the factory pin through, because you can actually bend the pin. By putting a solid unit in like this, you're going to be able to recover off the rear of the vehicle. Now, if you don't have a tow bar, then we can look at recovery points on the back. But generally, 9 out of 10 people do have a tow bar, and using that on the rear is the way to go, and a set of custom-made rated recovery points on the front. So let's go out the side and have a look at a car with the right recovery points on and something that's not so good. Well, here we are out the front of Ultimate Full Drive, and we've got a couple of vehicles parked out here. 2 examples. Now, this particular vehicle is sporting a set of heavy-duty recovery points, and you can see here that they mount right up deep into the chassis. Now, they're very strong, and they're a rated recovery point, so that you can actually recover from them. Having a bridle hooked to them both will give you a very, very strong recovery, and nice and safe, most importantly. Secondly, you can have a look at this vehicle here. Now, this particular vehicle doesn't have recovery points on, and these particular points that you're seeing here are actually not recovery points, and it's a big misconception amongst many people. They think they've actually got a recovery point on their car, but they haven't. Those points were put there as shipping points, and that's where they tie the vehicles down when they come over on the ship. There's no rating to them, and I've actually seen them break off and bend straight. Now, if something breaks off and you've got a shackle through that, well, that's a missile, and there's been a lot of deaths where the shackles have gone through the window and actually killed people. So recovery can be a very, very dangerous thing. You need to make sure you've got the right recovery gear and the right, and most importantly, the right recovery points. So for any of your questions when it comes to recovery, what type of vehicle you got, how to do it, and to make sure it's done safe, give us a call here at Ultimate Full Drive. Our expert crew are fully trained when it comes to all matters recovery, and they're going to make sure that you've got the best possible recovery points and gear for your next trip.